All right, it is finally time for a health update. A bunch of you guys have been leaving wonderful comments, commenting on the change of my appearance, which is very nice. And a lot of people have been asking questions. How's everything going? I get lots of messages, and I really appreciate it. And there has just finally, after 6 months, been something to really update you on. And there's some things that I left out of my last health video that I feel like I need to include in this one and tell you guys about. So for those of you that didn't see the last video, the super fast recap is that about 2 years ago, I started struggling with crazy blood pressure issues and almost had several strokes. Went to the hospital several times, three or four times, had to go in the hospital because of blood pressure issues and because of things that were happening to my body, like crazy vomiting, so dizzy I couldn't stand up, like lots of crazy things that made me have to go to the hospital to try to get some help. And this eventually led to my doctor maxing me out on blood pressure meds. I was on the very highest dose that someone could take of meds. And this was like a real wake-up call for me, because I was like, there's nowhere to go from here. Like, what if it keeps getting worse? I have to make some changes. And so while I was not the least healthy person in the world, not the most sedentary person in the world, I decided to make some real changes, and it's finally paying off. It makes me want to cry when I say that. So in this video, I just want to give you guys an update. I want you to know that none of this is medical advice. Absolutely none of this is medical advice. You need to do your own research and figure out what is best for you, for your body, for your lifestyle. And my hope with this video is that it will inspire some of you to get healthy, because this is not the most healthy career that we live in. We literally sit in chairs all day, often cases in rooms by ourselves all day, often cases eating bad food and drinking tons of caffeine. Like, I know that's how I lived for a long time. So I just hope that this inspires somebody. So I guess let's start with the new development. A week ago, I dropped my blood pressure dose. I'm no longer on the maximum blood pressure dose, which is like, honestly, I wasn't sure that was going to happen, because I had been working so hard. It's been 6 months. It's been 6 months since they maxed me out, and I've been working so hard for 6 months. So I wasn't sure that was ever even going to happen, but it happened. And so that means I'm really headed in the right direction here. The thing that I left out of the last video it's because there's a lot of taboo around this subject still. There shouldn't be, but there is. In the last video, part of what had me going down this crazy rabbit hole of blood pressure stuff, just part of it, not the only reason, is I started taking testosterone. And I started it because I was feeling sluggish, I was feeling tired, I was feeling like it didn't really matter what my diet was. I wasn't losing weight the way that I thought that I should. My mental state could use some improvement. And so I was like, well, let's go get a blood panel done. And when I went and got a blood panel done, my testosterone was 155. Now, the normal range, again, none of this is medical advice. The normal range is like 290 to 900. And generally, you kind of want to be like 500-600 before you start feeling decent. And so 155 was kind of crazy. And it was a situation where I'm like, this is something that I need to do. This is not like, I just want to take steroids or I just want to go to the gym and get big. No, this is like, my body has a problem and it's time to address it. So I just jumped online to one of I'm not going to name names, but one of the online hormone testosterone replacement therapy places. And they sent me a kit and I tested and they confirmed that my levels were low and they put me on testosterone. And they were having me inject it sub-Q, which means you get little insulin needles and you inject it in the belly fat, like right here. I injected myself once a week at first. And we kept going up and up and up and up in my dose, and we're seeing almost no change in my numbers. And the doctor, who was very hard to get a hold of, very hard to schedule consults with, didn't really know what was going on, decided that they would switch from sub-Q in the belly fat to intramuscular, which is a much longer needle, and it goes either in your butt, in your glute, or in your leg, or in your shoulder. And it goes all the way in the muscle. So they decided they would switch me to intramuscular, and they decided that they would like double or triple my dose that I was currently on, because they just wanted to see some change. And I took that, and then I felt no different that day. The next day, I felt like Superman. I felt like $1,000,000 with all of the energy and all of the motivation and all of the good moods and none of the stress and none of the anxiety. It was honestly almost euphoric feeling. And the next day, I went to the hospital. The following evening, I had what still to this day was the worst meltdown panic attack I've ever had in my life. Like I thought I was going to die. My blood pressure spiked to like 230/180. And I was like, this is it. This is the end for me. Now, the only reason I'm telling you this story is one, because there's a lot of taboo about hormone replacement therapy. However, our bodies have a particular set of levels that just like we're supposed to have X amount of vitamin D and vitamin C, we're also supposed to have X amount of testosterone and estrogen. And when those levels are in the toilet, it's something that needs addressed, and we don't talk about it. There's a lot of taboo about it, and there's a lot of people that look down on that kind of stuff. So I didn't include it in the last video. However, I think it's a real important part of my journey to where I am now. So I wanted to include it in this video. So that happened. I immediately tried to contact my doctor for the online service, and I couldn't even get them to schedule anything for like 2 weeks. And I'm just having meltdowns over here. And it was one of the most nerve-wracking, scariest moments of my life. And so I decided myself to start weaning off of testosterone. I couldn't even get them on a Zoom or on a phone call to help me with this. And so I started weaning myself down. It took I wanted to do it real slowly, because what I thought was happening is I had a giant spike in testosterone and then a giant crash. And so I spent 2 months weaning myself back off of it. I was off of testosterone for over a year. Blood pressure issues kept getting worse. They kept raising my dose. I kept trying to eat a little bit more clean, a little bit more healthy. I kept limiting caffeine a little bit more. I kept just kind of tweaking things, but my blood pressure just kept going up and up and up and up. And along with those blood pressure issues, I was having some real anxiety issues, some real stress and anxiety issues. And it was getting to the point where it was starting to hinder my day-to-day activities. It was really starting to affect my relationships with my family and with my friends. And I knew it. Like, I knew it was happening, and I could not do anything about it. It's one of the most helpless feelings I've ever had in my life. So finally, my doctor maxes me out on blood pressure meds. And I'm like, we have got to make some real changes here. Some real changes. And so then I changed everything, and that's when you saw the last video. That video was 2 weeks in, 2 or 3 weeks in. And I was like going to the gym 4 days a week, eating super clean, no caffeine, no alcohol, no fried foods, no sugars, like, because those are the killers. The fried foods and the sugars are like, those are the ones that really kill you. But I was going strict paleo, which means nothing processed. It means whole foods only. So not even breads, because breads are processed. Whole meats, whole vegetables, whole fruits, nothing processed. And I was going to the gym 4 days a week, and I was seeing changes physically. Like I was starting to lose some fat. I was starting to get wider in the shoulders, but my blood pressure was not coming down. And I did this for 3 months, and I saw zero change in my blood pressure. And I finally go back to post having the online doctor, I went to a real doctor, a real hormone doctor here in Nashville. And that doctor is now my general practitioner, but has an emphasis and a specialty in hormones. And so I go back to my doctor, and I'm like, this should be changing. Like, I was so frustrated. I'm like, I'm eating super clean. I have no alcohol, no caffeine. I didn't have a drop of alcohol for 5 months. I had no caffeine for 3 or 4 months. And I'm like, I'm eating very clean. I'm very, very active. Gym, hour and a half a time, 4 days a week. What is happening? And he was like, I think we should try the testosterone again. So we ran my labs and it was still super low. It was in the 200s. I don't remember exactly what it was, 240 or something like that. And the low end of the spectrum is 290. And I was just super nervous about it because it was such a traumatic experience the last time that I had done it. And I was super nervous about it. But I was like, at this point, like, I'm having these issues mentally. I am not seeing improvements in my blood pressure, regardless of how clean I'm eating, regardless of what all I'm doing physically. And I was like, well, what have we got to lose? So he put me back on testosterone, and it has been a complete life changer for me. Like, it changed my life. Now, this is not to try to encourage any of you to take testosterone. That's not what this is about. This is just simply sharing my journey. But immediately, by the end of the first week, all of the mental issues were gone. All of the stress, all of the anxiety. My wife thinks I'm a new person. And I know you guys don't get to see a lot into my actual personal life, but I was on edge at all times. And that's not the case anymore, which is incredible. So we have been playing around with the dosing. I get labs, I get a full blood panel every single month. So that way we can monitor exactly what's happening with everything. And we're constantly making adjustments. We're constantly making tweaks. I still go to the gym 4 days a week. I drink a ton of water, a ton. That's what this is. I got one of these big tumblers or whatever this is. And I have a filter downstairs, and I just drink my own filtered water right into a metal container, no plastics. And I try to drink 2 of these a day. On days that I go to the gym, I drink 3 or 4 of these a day. The gym is 4 days a week. It's every other day. So it's 3 days one week, 4 days the next week. And I spend, it was a lot more cardio. I was doing like 30, 40 minutes of cardio in up front, and then weight training after that. Now I'm kind of down to, here's what I'm doing. And again, I'm not a personal trainer, but what I've settled on after my own research and experimenting is I do 10 to 15 minutes of cardio right when I get there in the beginning. I do it on a bike because I have bad knees from riding bikes, and bikes are just low impact. I like bikes the best. And I track my heart rate the entire time. I put it right into zone 2, which you can do some research for your optimal heart rate for cardio. Just Google it. It's something like 220 minus your age gives you like the maximum heart rate that you're supposed to be in. But I pay super close attention to my heart rate with this watch. The whole time while I'm on the bike doing cardio and in weight training. So I do 10 or 15 minutes of cardio, and then I go immediately to weight training. And how hard I push myself in weight training is based purely around my heart rate. I'm in zone 2 for cardio the entire time I'm lifting weights. So I'm getting an hour to an hour and a half of cardio every other day. So basically what I do is I do a set of whatever when I'm lifting, and then I watch my heart rate. And as soon as my heart rate gets to the bottom of zone 2, it doesn't matter how tired I am, I immediately do the next set. And so this has been a real game changer for me. That, and this might get a little nerdy for some of you, but I've been real big on each muscle group has to have 2 workouts. One that has the full amount of weight at the stretch. So if biceps, this is fully stretched, so the full amount of weight in that position. And the next one at full contraction, where there's the full amount of weight at full contraction. So weight this way. And you position your body, and you lay on the benches, and you use the cables, and you do whatever you got to do. What I do whatever I got to do to hit every muscle group where it's 100% weight under stretch, and then the next exercise is 100% weight under contraction. And all of this put together, the hormone, the TRT, the testosterone replacement therapy, the eating clean, the going to the gym nonstop, the cardio, getting the heart rate, like making sure that I watch the heart rate the whole time. So not only am I not overextending myself, but I'm also always in zone 2 for cardio. All of that put together has allowed me to drop my blood pressure meds. That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff to do. But I'm making real progress. I've lost about 1.5 inches in my waist. I've had to go up a size on my t-shirts. I'm now a 2XL, which I've never been in my whole life. I've always been an XL, and as you can see, it's not even a loose fitting 2XL. I feel fantastic. I feel energetic. I feel younger. I feel more motivated. I feel significantly less stress and anxiety. Although those of you that watched the previous video might call that into question. But throughout my day and my day-to-day, I feel significantly less stress and anxiety. There were some moments where I kind of was battling some depression, and that is just all completely gone. And so what I hope that this does for you, I'm taking a couple supplements. None of this is sponsored. This is not a sponsored video. I'm not making a dime off this video, but I drink water. I'm playing around with other supplements. I take a good fish oil every single day. I take my blood pressure meds, obviously. So I'm playing around with vitamin supplements, and I haven't really nailed anything that I love that also is not raising my blood pressure. But there's one other supplement that has really helped, and it is this SNAP nitric oxide. And this SNAP nitric oxide beets pomegranate spinach. Not sponsored. I'm not going to make a dime off this. I'm not putting a link in the description below. You can buy this on Amazon though. So what this does is this helps your body produce nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator, which opens your arteries basically. The more nitric oxide you have in your system, the better your circulation basically is. And so in my case, I need my arteries and my veins to get opened. And this, when I take this every single day, it definitely builds up over time. And then I've had times where I've run out of it and I've stopped taking it for a week, and I definitely notice a difference. So I take that every single day. I have just started to reintroduce caffeine. Mostly only on gym days and only before the gym, and not much caffeine. Not like an energy drink and 2 double shots of espresso like it used to be, just a little pick-me-up. And so far, that's been totally fine. I try to do it in a healthy way. I try to do just espresso. Sometimes some healthier energy drinks I'll do as well, but I really try to limit the sugars. And I still am on basically no fried foods, and I try to limit sugars. I'm about 70% of my meals, because I try to be realistic about this as well. We've got lives to live. I'm busy. I'm out doing things with my daughter and with my wife, and like it's impossible to eat perfectly all the time. And so rather than stress myself out about it, I do the best that I can. If we go to Chick-fil-A, I get the grilled chicken wrap instead of the spicy chicken sandwich. You know what I mean? Like just choose the healthier options. And then when we eat at home, it's pretty healthy. And all of that put together is making real progress. And so what I hope that this video does for you is inspires you to just be more healthy. Just eat cleaner. Just get up and go for walks. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It really doesn't, to get just a little bit healthier. And if you are so inclined, which I would encourage anyone who's willing to do so, go get a gym membership. It's so good for your mental health. It's so good for your physical health. And you don't have to do it to get jacked. You don't have to do it to get ripped. Just go walk on the treadmill. Just go move, make movements, lift a little bit of weights. Just get on a couple of the machines. Just start. And there's lots of days that I really, really don't feel like going to the gym. And I just do it anyway. And I'm like, oh, this is not going to be a good workout. And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But the point is, you just show up every single day. And you do that over time, and it makes a big difference. 6 months, that's a lot longer than I thought it would take to make real progress. But here we are. And this is no longer a diet for me. This is no longer just trying to get in shape real quick. This is now my life. This is how I'm going to live my life moving forward. So hope some of you found this helpful. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.